Hello, everyone. I think we're live. If I did my job right, I'll wait until I make sure that we've got audio and everything. I don't think I forgot anything tonight. I think I'm good. Let's see. I'm just going to wait. Oh, good. We're still having the critical errors on the website. You've always gotten this message. Let's see. Try to log into the auction website. I've always gotten this message when I'm on my laptop. I can't do anything about it. Honestly, I don't even know what to do with the auction stuff. I may need to just uninstall and reinstall. I can't fix it. I don't know why it's doing it. It's actually very frustrating on my end. If people can't bid and it's available at the end, I'll just list it for sale, but I can't. It's the auction thing has been driving me crazy because I don't know why it does it to some people. It doesn't do it to everybody. I'm able to bid, like I can't even test it because, so if you wonder what I'm rambling about right now, you can theoretically bid on what I'm drawing for the night. The problem is, for some reason, it's not allowing people to. They'd previously been able to get it to it with my iPad. That doesn't work today, nor did it on my cell phone. Can we use the chat? No, there's no way for me to do the chat to place bids. I don't even know how I would make that work. I don't know what the problem is, honestly. Let me, before we start, I'm not gonna waste too much time, honestly, on this. I'm just gonna give up and list it for sale. Won't be auction price if I have to do that, but I don't know what to do with this stupid auction drama. Like, it is so weird. And I'm so sorry for you guys who are, you know, I appreciate that you wanna bid, but it's like, I can bid just fine. But I'm logged in. Let me see, what is your username? Baby Pandas, what is your username on my website? You give me that. Let me make sure that there's nothing weird. I could maybe reset your password. I don't know. Are you able to log in at all? It is the most frustrating thing for me. No, I'm not going to use eBay. The problem is with all of these other things, I already pay for this service. I'm not getting my money back for that. If I list it on eBay, I have to pay them a lot, and there's no way for me to do a 2-hour auction on eBay without paying up more than the painting is worth. So there's no other option for me right now. It's really, I apologize, but yeah, if it's available, if no one else bids that's able to, like, I can't keep canceling the auctions. So if nobody, I don't know what the solution is. If you guys have, like, again, there is no other service. I've looked into them. I'm not doing another one because it's not really, none of them are good solutions. And not for a 2-hour auction. And I just don't know why. Hi, Kendra. Welcome to your first live where I'm rambling right off the bat. We're going to get into this lesson in just a moment here, I promise. Let's see. Forest Corgi. Did you let me know, Baby Pandas, what your username is on the forum? I'm just going to double check, and let's see. I can log into your website and Patreon, but not the auction site. I use my email as a load. If you can log into, okay, so here, this is actually good information for everybody. Logging into Patreon is not the same as logging into my website. Logging into my website is for the auction. Like, that's one thing. It's not two separate logins. My website is lachri.com. Then where I have my lessons is patreon.com/Lachri. Those two things are not like, they're not the same website. Like, I don't actually run, well, I mean, I run my aspect of Patreon, but like, those are completely different logins, completely different everything. And my website used to let you log into my Patreon through my website, and I tried to delete all that. Hopefully it's all gone. But yeah, let me double check really quick. I can look at my users. Let's see. I don't know what your email is. Can you give me a hint of your email, Baby Pandas? Unless it is actually Baby Pandas. Let's see, users. I don't have anyone with the word panda in their emails, so that's not even a thing. I would say try to make a new one. Maybe that'll work. Make a new account. Like, I don't care how many accounts you have on my website, except for the person that I had to ban for bidding and not actually paying for it. Okay, yeah, but you see, I figured you knew, but a lot of people get that mixed up where they think that they're logged into Patreon because they logged into my website, but they can't get access to the videos on Patreon. Like, they're different. That's why I throw that out there, because it happens all the time. Okay, thank you. Let me look up. What I'm going to do is reset. Okay, you're the only one. I'm gonna get net zero. That is the old, like, wow, I feel old reading that. I'm going to send a reset, password reset. I don't know if it worked, but we'll just see how that goes. Sent you a link. We'll see if that makes a difference. Otherwise, try to make a new account and see if that'll work. I don't know why. I'll have to contact the auction creator of that app and see if they have any, because this is now becoming like a regular thing, and I don't know why. It's very frustrating because, yeah, like I paid $80 for that plugin. So net zero. I'm making fun of you right now because you're as old as I am. Okay, so anyway, that is as far as I can fuss with the auction, and I apologize. It's frustrating why that's doing. Full screen looking blurry. Anyone else? Refresh your page because it looks fun. It actually is okay over here. That should fix it. Okay. Let's get into this. So tonight we are working in Pan Pastels with colored pencil on top. This is a fox. The reference photo can be found there's a link in the video description. The link is free to everybody. It's a Patreon link, but you don't have to be a Patreon member to get this. And I keep getting people commenting, I wish you put the reference photo on the screen. There's limited space on the screen, and somebody said do that instead of the dogs. That's just not gonna happen. But here's the thing. You can get it and put it anywhere on the screen you want. Like, it is always available. It is always in the video description. You can always get it and put that anywhere, as big, small, whatever. It doesn't need to be on the screen. So I've always got that available to you. And I keep getting, I've been getting a lot of messages lately about that. So you can go get, oh no, baby pandas, it is not. I thank you. So sorry for the trouble. No, I'm not frustrated with you. That probably came out as me being like really witchy. I don't mean to be. I'm frustrated with the app. And I'm frustrated with my website having things I don't know how to fix, that I'm like, I just can't fix it. I don't know how to fix it. So yeah, no, I thank you for your patience in this and for even wanting to bid. And I apologize that this is just, I don't know how to, yeah. So anyway, let's move on. So tonight, the Pan Pastels I've got over here, I've got a set of 20. And the cool thing with Pan Pastels, you don't need to own every color in the world. You can have 20 is a really good number of colors. They also have different sets where they're like a set of 5. Get those. You can mix colors. You can mix them really well like you do with paint. So you don't have to run out and buy 100 different colors. For me, the set of 20 is what I've been using for several years now, and I've not felt the need to get more. Although I am starting to run out of white finally after all these years. They last a really long time. So I'm going to be doing this guy. I've pre-drawn him out. I actually you can trace it if you want. You can freehand it, whatever you want, but I've drawn him out on a piece of tracing paper and then use transfer paper to transfer him onto my image. And the reason that I do that versus just drawing on the paper itself is if I do that, I'm gonna have a million eraser marks all over the place. This way, any eraser marks happened here and my artwork is nice and clean. So there we go. Sorry, drinking my iced coffee here. We all have to start the night off. Fly me to the moon. Thank you so look, they know. Thank you so much. Do you boys want a super chat from Fly Me to the Moon? You want a super chat? I think that's a yes. Wade must have slipped on the floors, because we have tile floors. I think he slipped recently because for the last week, he is afraid to walk on the floors. He'll have to get over it because I'm not putting carpets down everywhere. You were fine before. Come on, Cal. There's one for you. Good boy. But yeah, he's been weird for a week now about walking on the floors. And like, we keep catching him backing up, like walking backwards around the house. Like apparently backwards is safer than front ways. So we're just, yeah, he's a goofball, but he's like, the bed is safety and the floor is lava apparently right now. Okay, go lay down. You're done. Lay down. Thank you, Fly Me to the Moon. Lay down, boys. Down, cow. Lay down. Why is no one listening to me? Most stubborn greyhounds ever. All the way down. There we go. Okay. So to start with, my layers. Now, another thing I do want to bring up, you guys had recommended the Pan Pastel. This is the colorless blender. And the first couple of times I tried it, I was like, really not seeing where it's fine, it works, but I don't know why you would want it like this. You don't need it, and you still don't need it. But the more I've been using it for large projects, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this stuff right now. I use it on sanded paper, a project I'm working on for a Patreon lesson of a fox, but it's a much larger, more detailed fox. This stuff's actually pretty cool. So it's not a must-have, but it is really handy for blending when you don't, like I feel like I don't end up needing as much of the pan pastel because the colorless blender helps it to go a little bit further. So, okay. And yes, Wade is wearing a belly band because somebody decided to lift his leg in the house a couple months ago and we're just not having that. So, okay. We are going to start with the background. And all I'm going to do here is lift up. I'm just going to rub, this is a soft tool, and I am just going to lift up some white and start laying this in. And I'm going to do everything with white on that background first. Now, you're not really going to see a lot here because I'm working on such a light paper. You can kind of see where I've laid it down. But I want to make sure that I get everything in there now, and then I can softly blend over that after. And I went with a really light color today, so it doesn't take as long for me to cover that light background. If I was working on a dark colored paper, I would put more effort into really getting good coverage here. Now, this is a 5x7, and you'll notice that the drawing does not go all the way to the edge. The mat will actually cover this, and if anyone can get the auction to work, this will come in a black mat. And all the supplies I'm using are also listed in the video description. Oh, that's not even white. What am I doing over there? Also listed in the video description. While I'm at it, I can go ahead and throw the white where it's going to go on his little face. He's got white on his snoot here. Just getting the base. And I'll actually come through and make this more grays and blues. Now, there's a big blur on the reference photo right here. It's just a bit of snow that it's out of focus. I'm not going to include that blob because if you don't have the entire image, it doesn't make sense why we've got this blurry thing in the corner. So that I will not be doing. Okay, I can use the same soft tool, come back over here, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of brown and a little bit of, what is this one? That is burnt sienna. Now, this is going to be really dark. You can see there's a lot on there. What I'm going to do is take my paper towel and just tap that a little bit, get a little off because I don't need it that dark. If I go too dark, it's not the end of the world. I'll just go back over it with the white. Yeah, that's the softness I'm looking for there. I don't want to go crazy. I want that to stay pretty soft. Okay, I'm going to wipe that off, and I'm just lightly going off on my Viva paper towel. It's very cloth-like. I like that better for wiping these off than like Bounty. It's just too papery. See, did anyone get, I've got the notification that the auction started, but yeah, it's still nothing saying that it's work. Nick said that he's found that once you register to the auction, if you close the page and just go to the auction again, it should load fine. I found when, so go ahead and try that. So you've already registered, close that page, open it again and take the link back to the auction and see if that works for you. It's just, I wonder if that was important, whatever just fell. It sounded like something broke. It's just so annoying because it's like, you don't find out that there's a problem until everything's live, every time. Like, I mean, obviously because it's live during the auctions, but yeah. And it's, what, 3 weeks in a row this has happened now? Let me know if that works though, closing the page and then reloading. So what I'm doing right now is just taking more white and lightening some of this up because I don't want it too dark. Wade, no chewing your paws. Yeah, I know what you were doing over there. I've got a camera on you, sir. You're being monitored. But my paws are itchy. So this is just nice and soft. That's all I want is something that's just soft. Well, there's no other word I need there. It's just soft. If you've got any questions, go ahead and leave them now. I will, yeah, it's not black, it's white. I copy and paste a lot of the descriptions. Things are going to be off. Welcome to my life. Okay, welcome to Dolphin Soul trying to fix everything that I've screwed up like that. There's a lot of them. Okay, so that's in there good now. Let's see. Okay, we got a bid for the auction, so you got that to work. It doesn't say who it was, so I don't know. But yay, okay, so at least it is working. That is good information, Nick, about closing the auction page and then reopening after you've registered. Okay, back to the fox. So we've got that background with the light colors. I'd already put the light colors here. We'll still put some darks in so I can put the white pencil on top. What I want to do is start getting this area of his face. I am going to start building up the depth, how dark or how light something is, but I want everything a bit darker than what I want the end result to be, because I want to put pencils on top of this that are lighter. Knowing I'm going to use lighter pencils, I need what I'm putting in right now are the shadows. Now, this is the trick to making your work look realistic. Get your values in. It doesn't matter if you have the right color. I'm using a combination of red oxide and, was it burnt sienna? You use just red oxide and he'll be a more red fox. It's fine. Are your values correct? Dark's dark enough, light's light enough. This is the trick to making your work look realistic. It's not about the color. Everyone's so worried about color theory and getting the exact color. Okay, great, you made a perfect cartoon. Wonderful. If you want it to look realistic, it's your values. Color's not that big of a deal. So what I'm doing here, though, is looking at what is farthest behind. So the lighter colors are going to lay on top. I want to get these really dark values in first, and that means go darker than what you think you want that end result to be. So I'm going to block in these really dark spots. And we've got a little bit around his muzzle. Don't just start covering everything dark like this. That's not going to be cute. I mean, it'll be cartoony cute. So I guess it technically could be cute. Now, this is that area on the reference photo that was white and blurry. We're going to darken that up because that is just the little snowflake that's out of focus. We've got this dark area right under his eye here. So it looks like I'm just putting this in weird random places, but I'm looking at that photo. Where are the darkest areas on that fox? I would rather be too dark than not dark enough. Not dark enough means a lot of extra work. Too dark, not a big deal at all, which will make sense in a bit here. And then we've got, let's just go ahead and fill in the eye. Okay, and now I'm going to use mostly my burnt sienna. Did I say burnt sienna or raw sienna? I think that was burnt. Yep. And we're going to fill in the other areas that are a little, whoops, it's a little too dark. Actually, let's mix a little bit of white with that. This is more of a gold. I've got too much red oxide on there. I need to wipe that off more. It's not the end of the world. Like, it's not going to make that big of a difference, but I want more of that golden tone. There we go. I'll have to put that shadow on the inside of the ear. We'll come back to that. And mixed again white and raw sienna. Burnt sienna. I'm going to keep saying raw sienna. See, raw sienna is the actual color I want. I'm having to mix it by throwing in some white to get something kind of close. If I really wanted raw sienna, I would also throw in some yellow ochre, but yeah. Some of this is a little bit on the light side. I'll come back and darken it up. Also, it is really hot in here. Hold on 1 second. Let me adjust I'm not going to use the Amazon device and screw up your guys' AC settings. So just give me a second to change it on my phone like I did last week. But of course, it doesn't want to load for whatever reason. I may just, hold on, let me mute myself and oh wait, here we go. It's going now. Just drop that by a couple of degrees. Okay, back to work. Now we've got a little bit of this golden color right under his jawline here, or right under the upper lip. And I'm going to pull in some gray. Let's get a little brown, maybe a little bit of black. I need to darken up the chin a lot. And this is going to look way too dark, but that's because I want to come back through with the white. If this isn't dark enough, the white's not going to show up later. And I'm kind of pushing it with being too light again. Some of this I'm throwing some brown in there, some gray. I don't care as long as it's dark. It's not that big of a difference. Again, we focus so much on color. The color's not that big of a deal. Get those values in there. So speaking of values, let's get some of the black. We're going to get some of the dark just in here. And I'm holding the brush a little to the side so I get that wispy look. Same thing over here. Darken that up a bit. That came down too far. That's okay. We've got a little bit of the dark red on the edge. Same thing, the edge here. We've got some dark on the nose. And there are smaller soft tools you can use too. Have a little bit more control, like the little angled ones. And I'll be cleaning up all these details with my colored pencils in a bit here. Remember, if this isn't dark enough, it would be better to be too dark than not dark enough. Again, like that really is going to make your life easier. I'm going to mix a little bit of red oxide and black. This gives me more of a brown tone. We're going to pull some of that in here. And I'm not going to worry about the detailing around the eyes. We'll do that with the pencils. So you can do this all with just your pencils and no pan pastels. This just speeds things along, getting that base layer so much. So again, with that red oxide with a bit of black, darken that up a bit more in here. I'm not really worried about getting, well, nothing perfect really. Just this is your base layer. You're going to go over all of this. Some more of that red oxide right up against the ear. Soften some of this out now. Just smudging in where there's white of the paper showing through. I'm going to wipe what's on my pencil off. And just smudge some of that. Okay, I'm going to actually grab a little bit of yellow ochre and brown. I'm going to mix some of those two together and maybe some white. So I get this lighter cream color, kind of a yellowy. So it's not that I want this to be yellow because fur is not yellow. I just want to create a little bit more of a golden tone. So that's why I mixed those in there. And then let's grab some white so we can get this a little bit more tan. Okay, and then the last step, I'm just going to make sure I don't have a bunch of white little blocks showing through. That is a very scary, ugly stage, and whoever bid is terrified right now. This is going to be cute, though, I promise. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, this is SpectraFix. Some people who work in pastels or pan pastels don't like to seal it with anything because when you put a spray over it or any sort of fixative, it can darken the colors. I find those SpectraFix only darkens if you put it on way too heavy. If you just do a nice light mist, and this is in a fine mist sprayer, so it is a very fine mist unless I get too close, this is going to help seal that down a little bit so that the pencil sticks more. If I go straight on this with the pencil, it gets almost slippery, it doesn't stick as well, and you're not going to end up knocking some of that pastel off. This helps seal it down a little. Now, spraying it does not mean that if I ran my hand across it, it wouldn't smudge. It 100% would smudge, but this is going to help lessen that. So I'm going to keep it back. I'm a little over a foot away, just real light. And it's better if you do a couple of light layers, let it dry in between before than doing one heavy layer. I'm going to dry that now. Now, drying this with a hairdryer does a couple of things. One, it tightens that paper back up. When you get it wet from the SpectraFix, it gets a little bit flappy. The paper loosens up and it starts to warp and buckle. This will tighten it right back down into place. Because I've got tape, this is an acid-free pH neutral tape. It's not your normal masking tape. The reason that I've got too much information I'm trying to throw at you once. The reason we want a pH neutral or acid-free tape is that all tapes are going to leave some residue behind. If you're using regular like blue masking tape or whatever, you're leaving some of that not acid-free glue on your artwork, and over the years that can start to yellow it and cause issues. So this one is a pH neutral, acid-free. This is going to be your safest bet for using tape like that. And the other thing that I really love with using the hairdryer, if there's any if it's too powdery, too much dust, that's blowing that all away too. So you got a few benefits there. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch out my pan pastels. I'm good with these for now, and grab the pencils where we really start making this look good. And let's grab that. Actually, we'll get a message from the boys while I do this.
Without treats, these puppies are so sad. Your Patreon pledge of only $4 or more gives them cookies of happiness. Act now and the bad cow gets a treat too. Oh, and you also get over 300 art lessons and a new one every single week, plus other rewards. Sign up at patreon.com/Lachri.
Okay, so I've got my pencils. Now here's the thing everyone asks for. There we go. Now I've got room for the reference photo. No, you stay down. So here's the thing with Patreon. The prices are going up at the end of the month, like in a couple of days. And the thing with, when you sign up at the end of the month, it charges you again at the beginning of the month. So you've got to decide if you are trying to get in at the lower, I'm calling it my legacy prices, my 2014 prices. If you sign up now, you have till the end of the month. Well, if I don't change it before then, but you have till hopefully I guess technically it is the end of the month, but you have a couple of days to get signed up and lock in my current prices. After that, the prices are going up for anyone new who signs up. So you could wait till the beginning of the month, but the price will be higher. It's going to be a couple dollars more a month. Still super low cost, still super cheap. So I keep making it sound like the prices are gonna skyrocket. They're not. I'm just undercharging enough that I'm the cost of postage, the cost of everything on my end has gone up significantly. I think I was factoring in lately. I am making about, with the recession and everything going on, I'm making like 30%. Wait, no, I'm making, what was it? I'm off by about 30%. I forget how I factored that. I did the math on this recently, but like the cost of everything went up by 10 to 20%, but my income went down by like 8%, and like everything, it all worked out to be close to 30% I'm off right now. I'm like, okay, I have to redo all of this. So anyway, point is, if you want to get in at my current, like as low as $4 a month and all of the other tiers, you can sign up now, but it will charge you again on the 1st. Whether or not that's a good deal for you, or you just want to wait for the 1st and go with the new prices, totally up to you on what you want to go with. If you are currently a member though, you've locked in those prices. Those aren't changing for you. Yeah, in Art of Raven D said 30% is a lot. Yeah, it's not, I don't know if I'm wording that right. I guess everyone's cost of living has gone up, and it ended up being about 20%. Everything has gone up. Groceries, electricity, water bill. Like, it's insane how much all of these things have skyrocketed. And I am, with everything going up, postage went up for sending out postcards. Ordering, my Vistaprint orders, those have gone up quite a bit. Everything went up so much, but my income dropped by 8%. So when you factored all that, it was about 30. And it was like, yeah, I'm starting to be concerned. Like if I have a major vet bill or something like that, I'm like, that's getting, yes. So anyway, there we go. Prices going up at least $2. I've been thinking it'd be $6, maybe $6.50. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to go up by a minimum of $2. It may be a little bit more. I have to sit down and do the numbers again, so we'll get there. Prices haven't gone up since 2014 when I started doing these online lessons. So I'd rather them stay as low as possible. That is my goal. But yeah, so that's what's going on. Anyway, moving on. Let's get back to the art. So now we are back onto the fox. Everything should be dry now. We can put a piece of glassine, except I don't have a piece of glassine. How do I not have that ready? Oh, and it's not even in this room, I don't think. Where did I leave it? I think it's, do I have any in here? Oh, there's a little bit left. Yeah, we'll make it work. I just got a new roll, but I forgot I haven't taken it in here, so, or brought it in here. So I've got the last bit that I just tore off. That'll have to work. I'm just going to reuse the tape. Because everything's too expensive, we're going to reuse everything. Pull it off my old thing. I'm just going to stick that on there. Okay, there we go. We are ready to move on. And what do I need to start with? I'm going to actually start with his eyes, and then I'm going to go to his ears. So I am going to start with my polychromos because they sharpen to a really fine point, and I need tiny little detail here. So we'll go with some black. Let's get some of, ooh, this is a good one. This is burnt ochre. And can put more of them. These three colors and maybe white. Let's go with these. Probably have to sharpen these though. Okay, let me sharpen those really quick. And I just use these little metal comb sharpeners. If you're using a pencil sharpener and your lead keeps breaking every time you sharpen it, then the blade on the pencil sharpener is likely dull. You need to replace that. Unless you're using Prismacolor, they're going to break just because you breathed on them or in the general vicinity of them. But like if your other pencils, it broke off inside. If one breaks once, it's one thing, but if they keep breaking, then switch out the blade. Or the sharpener. Hold on, this has something stuck in it. There we go. Now I can sharpen that. So let's start by shaping all of this in. And I'm giving it a decent amount of pressure here because I'm not planning on doing a bunch of layers over that. If you're working on an area where you know you're going to need a lot of layers, you don't want to push very hard because that limits how many layers you can get on top. But here, I know that I don't need a lot. And then just above that line we just did, this is where the hairs start going, so I want to watch which direction this goes. See how I want to follow that eye, curve that around. This is why that pencil needs to be nice and sharp. I'm going to come back in there with my caput mortem. We've got a line right in between the dark center and where that shadow fades out. This is going to look really weird for a few minutes here. Okay, I'm going to take that raw, this one was the burnt ochre. I'm going to start building up some texture in the eye. And we need the shadow on the upper lid there, so I'm not pushing hard yet. We also are going to have the white, so let's map that out, and this I can push harder. That can blend in a little bit with the black. I want that curved. It's very important that that is curved. And I need a darker, like reddish burgundy type. You might work, or I'm not loving any of these colors. I probably have them in the wrong place. Let's look at, here, we'll grab this. This will work from my Derwent Light Pass. This is Venetian Red. That looks like a good color. And I'm going to do a little bit of texture in here. So see, it's kind of a bunch of little circles that are overlapping. I'm going to go over the black up top as well. Let's define that pupil a bit more. Now notice that I'm not working on both eyes at the same time. Don't keep jumping back and forth. Do one and then do the other. I know some people are so worried about them not matching, they feel like they have to do them both at the same time. That is not going to get you very good results. Perfect one and then go over and perfect the other. You've got these dark areas right on the edge. And while I'm at it, let's grab a white Derwent Lightfast, because that is going to be one of my more opaque whites. Now, if you get an area, like if your white, if I can't get the white bright enough, little trick on making your white areas brighter, okay, I had one over here earlier. Is it not here anymore? One second. Here we go. Take a Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser. This is almost like an ink eraser. This will erase in a way that a normal eraser can't. Let's sharpen that guy. And where I want it really bright, where I maybe am not getting it quite as bright as I want, I'm just going to lift up whatever pencil is there. Now when I go over that with my white pencil, it is going to be bright. Like it'll bring the paper pretty much back to white in a way that you're not going to get if you just keep layering on top of the color that's already there. I do want a blue, like a light ultramarine blue, that'll work. I'm lightly going to go over some of the white around the edge because I don't want the whole thing that bright. Let's get that bluish tone, ends up being more gray. There we go. I want the bottom to be a little bit lighter, using my polychromos because I don't want it quite as opaque as what I got up there. Just clean up little details. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the eyes than I do everything else. Everything else can go pretty quickly. And I've got, this one is red violet. I'm just going to go right around that pupil so it fades out a little bit. It's not too defined. The trick here is we want this to be darker on the top and lighter towards the underside of the eye. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. We may come back and do some work. Now it looks kind of weird because it looks like it's got funky eyelashes. When I come back through with the fur around it, it'll look better. But let's go ahead and get the other eye. And I'm going to start with the white highlight because there's a big one on this side. And now I can come back through with the black. Right there in with the pupil. We've got a little bit of black there and then a little bit under the eye. Gibson, stop it. He'll put his face under his chest so I can't see him and lick and lick and lick his chest. It makes it not smell very good. Okay, we've got some burnt, this is again is the burnt ochre. Let's start getting that yellowy gold color in there. Not yellow, I say yellowy, but it's really more of an orangey gold. And see how I'm leaving some of the light areas through? It's kind of blotchy. We want that blotchy. Now I'm going to come back through. Let's grab some of that red violet. I can pull that dark from the pupil up a bit more. We've got some blue over that white. I'm pushing pretty hard here to get that to show up. I'm going to do the same thing where I want it at the brightest. I'm going to erase some of it. I'm going to use the Derwent Lightfast. That white actually gets, in most cases, I find it gets lighter or brighter than my Caran d'Ache Luminance white, which is odd. Was not what I was expecting. I was super surprised to find that. And I don't want to use the Derwent Drawing Chinese white because that is just not, it's too thick for how little the detail is here. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a moment. That eye is definitely not done, but I want to start working. Actually, I'm going to darken a little bit around that pupil. I want to start doing a little bit around it for the fur. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just start working my way out. So this is the black. Actually, I'm gonna not jump straight to the black. I'm gonna use my violet. Yeah, this is better. Whenever I've got orange tones, actually, let's pull out, how many times can I say actually? Let's pull out first the, oh, hold on. This isn't giving me the notifications it is supposed to. Okay, Nick said where the auction is, register or log in here before bidding. Said ignore that if you've already done so. You should just be able to bid. Yeah, for me, I don't have to, like, I'm already logged in, so. Okay, let's see what colors I need. I'm gonna pull a bunch out right now. This one's nice. It's not too orange. Terracotta. That's about as bright orange as I'm gonna want. Probably. I may take that back. I've got middle cadmium red. That looks pretty good. Actually, this one looks really good. What is this? Venetian. Didn't I already have Venetian red out? Probably. I don't know. We're gonna throw you out too. You look good. No yellow. We don't want yellow. These are pretty good for now. And then I've already got that actually, let's grab a, Derwent has some of the best, their purple is one of my favorite. It's really more of a magenta type color, but oh my gosh, this is one of my, like, I have to replace this color and Nightshade more than anything else, and white, with my Derwent Light Fast pencils. They're my absolute, like, must-have favorites. Okay, actually, that's the one I'm going to use right now. Tonight, the word of the night is actually. I want to see how many times I can say it. So I'm using this to build up my darker areas. I don't want to just jump to black. I can come back through with black where needed, but I don't want to just jump to that. And what I'm doing is working that pencil in the direction of the fur. Watch where these darker areas go. And this again is purple. You don't have to, if you don't have the same color as me, it like could put more to would work if you got the polychromos. Anything that's just a darker color, a darker kind of magenta, purpley color. Just pay attention to where these dark areas are. And the fur, as it comes in here, is super short, changes direction. And this is the thing, we've got to watch the direction. I don't need it exact. I want to create the effect of detail, but I'm not making the exact detail either. Block that in over here a little bit. These are going to be some of our darker areas. And I really just want to focus on this area, and then I'll work my way out. Well, a little bit over here too, because it will help me map everything out better. And the blender that I'm going to use, you can use odorless mineral spirits or OMS. I use that a lot, but when I'm working over pan pastels, which you can work on it over pan pastels, but something like this, I find the easier or faster way to go through. I'm really loving the Derwent colorless, or not Derwent, the Caran d'Ache, it's not on here, is it? The Blender Bright or something like that. Their colorless blender works really nicely. And not that I like giving Prismacolor bonus points, but I do like their colorless blender as well. If I'm honest, I do like it. They have a good colorless blender. The reason that I don't do colorless blender all the time while I use OMS, I have arthritis in this wrist, and when you're using the colorless blender, you're pushing really hard. So you want to keep that for your final layers. That's why I'm not using it yet, because I need a lot of layers on here first, but it'll let me smudge and soften things out. But I used to do that, and you can do it for your entire piece and skip OMS altogether, but it's kind of hard on your hand. At least if you, like me, have arthritis, that was a bit much. Like I really, between Prismacolor's breaking and then my arthritis on top of that, I was just not enjoying colored pencil anymore. So these, using OMS and switching to pencils that don't break because I don't know, the weather changed, made the whole experience much more enjoyable. Now, while we're working, one of the things I want to bring up, just watch the direction that I'm moving these brush strokes. But one of the things I want to bring up, A lot of people are asking about the Temu products, and you see a lot of artists on YouTube pushing that crap. Oh, I just gave away the punchline, didn't I? It's crap. If you can buy it on Temu, it's either a knockoff or it's just straight crap. There are no good, I mean, I guess you could do Sketchbook or whatever. I won't give Temu my money. It's a very, there's some serious ethical issues with that company. But as far as like, let's say you're not even worried about that and you're just looking at like, oh, is it good product for cheap? Because I think everyone's cost of living went up. Trust me, I get it. Yeah, but it's crap. Like, it's not even worth the money. It's just a glorified, because they advertise so heavily, Wish.com. And Temu will pay some of the people who are working with Temu are making bank. Like, oh my God, that was a very old lady thing to say. They're making bank, but they're making a lot of money. It is the most shady. Like, I would not give that company money. I won't promote them. I want nothing to do with them. They keep trying to get me to advertise for them. I'm using white right here just for a little highlight, but those are not good products. Like, just go get generic. If you want to save money, just get generic from somewhere else. Like, I don't know, Walmart, whatever. But if you want to buy crap, you may as well buy, I mean, I guess it's all coming out of China, but still, that company is just, whew, that's a no for me. But anything they'll advertise that it's excellent, light fast, it's not light fast. They didn't test it. Trust me, they did not test it. They're lying about everything with that. Like, it's just absolute crap. Now with colored pencils, if you're just doing, let's say you're doing like adult coloring books and that stuff, you don't need the best pencils. You can get like the crap off Amazon. Totally fine for coloring books. But when you're doing fine art, something that you're really going to want to last for a long time, save your money and get the good stuff. Like, I would rather you have 12 quality pencils from Faber-Castell than 150 pencils that you got for $20 or whatever from Temu, but they're all crap. Like, you wasted $20 for something that you're really not going to get much use out of because they're crap. I'll probably be talking more about Temu moving forward because it's such, like, it's really frustrating to see how many YouTubers are pushing that crap. And it's like, wow, you have no shame, do you? And to be fair, it's possible they didn't research it and just don't know how bad the company is, but whatever. I'm going to take my eraser and pull a highlight here. Look how nice that is. It just lightens that edge up. And I'm using my polychromos white because I don't want it that light here. I just want to lighten it a bit. Polychromos white is much more translucent, so it works really well when you want slightly lighter, but not super, like, in your face bright. Let's start working our way down here, and I've switched back to my yellow. This one is the burnt ochre. If you have a yellow pencil out, put it away. We don't want yellow on the fur. The only time you're really going to have yellow on the fur, there are a few types of primates that have that, but for the most part, it's like if an animal is sitting in the glow of the sun and you've got that yellow around the edge. Other than that, yellow is generally not a color you want with fur. It's not so cute. I need a slightly darker, let's go with Caput Mortem, but a sharper Caput Mortem. The other thing with a lot of those products on Temu, and not just Temu, Amazon does the same thing. You have one pencil brand, they continuously change the name. It's the same pencil. They just put different names on the same exact, made in the same place, made everything's the exact same. There's so much shady stuff that goes on with them. And one of my favorites, a lot of them will use the name brand, made in the USA, made in North Carolina, I've seen some crazy stuff. It's the name of it. It's not actually made there. It's all made in China. All of it's made in China. So yeah, you've got some really questionable marketing going on with those. And I think Temu, I was at Boston, like they have their home, like a location in the US. I don't know what they're doing with that to get around certain things, but it's not the product. That's not where the product is coming from. A little bit of black here. We're going to get that shadow right around that eye. I want to darken up. I'm going to take the terracotta just around this edge and round that. I want to darken up the fur right in here. I'm going to darken right in there. And one of the nice things with art supplies, for the most part, you can spend an arm and a leg. Trust me, I know, because I have. But you can also do it in a much less expensive way, which I've also done. So I did the starving artist thing for a very long time. You don't need to own every color of every paint, of every pencil. Get a small amount of a decent quality. You're going to have, your results are going to be better. You know you can sell it without feeling bad that it's going to fade on the customer in a few years. There's just so many benefits to using the good stuff. It performs better, so your time of actually painting is more enjoyable. So many benefits. Just get fewer colors of the good stuff, and that also, using the white here, that is also going to help you learn to mix and blend better. So you don't, having too many colors can actually make things more difficult for you than it needs to be. Right now what's happening with this white, I'm pushing pretty hard, so I'm actually burnishing. I won't even need to use the colorless blender there, but it's lightening some of that and burnishing at the same time, giving me that nice smooth look. Switching direction of the fur there. I need to sharpen this though. That pencil sharpener was definitely starting to get dull. That one's not going to last me forever. So now I start to loosen everything up. I'm not being as precise as we move our way away from the eye. The fur gets a lot longer in here. And where I want that to show up more, I can switch over to my light fast white. Actually, this one's Arctic, it's not even white. And then where I really want it bright, we'll switch again to that here. Get a decent amount of the light here. We'll use that same light fast. Let me sharpen this pencil again. Light area going around his nose here, and right up in through this area. Fur is a little bit longer here. As we get down towards the nose, it gets really short. So you have a lot of that overlapping, that dense. If you make those long, it makes the fur look like it's really long in that area, which is not what we want. I'd rather just overlap it a little bit, make it more soft. Don't try to add, you don't need every little detail in there. As long as you've got your lights and darks where they go, that is more important than trying to get every little hair in there. See how we've got this darker area going up? That's the look that we want. Let's go on to the nose. So we've got this dark area right here, and that's rounded, comes back up. We've got the little nostril in here. Same thing, we've got a nostril over here. Just lightly going over that with the black. And then we've got the little, let's mark off where his face goes there. I'm going to pull blue for the highlight first and then put white over it. Actually, I'm going to just kind of shade all of this with the blue first, and then we'll use black and white. Remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask those now. I'll be answering those at the end of the video, or the end of the live stream. I want that white. Let's see, these need to line up. Thin that out a little bit with the white over it. Just lightly shade all of that, gets a lot darker. Okay, we've got a little bit of edging, not too crazy, right along the side here. I'm not quite ready for his whiskers because I've still got to pull some of the floof out around his face. I need a little bit, let's use mortem for some shadows in here. Lot with the black little hairs in here, and I'm just going to build up a bunch of them. Let them overlap. We don't want this to look like random confetti. I'm just constantly looking at that reference photo. Where are the lights? Where are the darks? Which direction is this fur moving? Little guys in here. Change the angle of that eye just a bit there. So what happens is you start building stuff up, you'll start noticing little adjustments you want to make. So that's why you'll see me change a little bit around the eye, a little bit over here, a little bit over there. Now I'm going to pull some of the black. Now this will start making the eye look like it's bigger. The eye, this is shaped right, or the right size, but it looks small because I don't have these shadows in yet. Okay, let's go back over here. Start working our way out again. See how these are all slightly curved too. They're not just a bunch of perfectly straight lines. No, I won't do that. Change my mind. But we do need, I need a gray. A light gray, that'll work. Go. We can use that gray to start shading. This one is just cold gray, number 3. And that is because I did not quite go dark enough here, so I'll just use the gray to darken that up more. Okay, where do I want to move to next? Let's continue. Let's throw this in there really quick. So I'm pushing pretty hard with this pencil. Make that white stand out. Now where the white is not standing out enough, I will use my touch-up texture, titanium white mixture, and really make those pop. I'm going to overlap right between it. I'm pushing pretty hard, the background and the fur there, and then I'm going to go right back over it. With that pencil, we'll pull that out. Let's move up to that ear. Yeah, my arthritis in this hand has had about enough of me burnishing, that's for sure. That is why you don't see me do entire pieces just with burnishing. I'm going to switch over to Caput Mortem. I'm going to pull that on down here. Oh, we have, let's see, I'll say quietly, a super chat, which is good because I need to give my hand a break for a second here. From Kendra, she said, from Dane Mum 2, I lasted until fixative for painting live. What? I lasted until fixative for painting live. I don't know what that means. I'm not reading that right. But it does give the, not that, boys a super chat. Because my hand really needs a break right now. Anyway, thank you, Kendra Moore. I'm not sure, Kendra. I don't think I'm reading from Dane Mum 2. I lasted until fix. I don't know what that. I don't think I'm reading that right. Wade, come. What's up? Good boy. He's been doing so. I told you guys I've been working with him on making eye contact before he takes his treats. He's doing such a good job, and he's also not munching my hand to take his treats anymore. He's doing like it's been a while since he accidentally bit me. He's just like, he sees a treat and he doesn't, I don't even think he looks. He just chomp. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down. Gibson, go lay down. Go on. Lay down. Go on, bad cow. Lay down. Are you backing up? Are you serious right now? You're just going to back into your bed. Lay down. Gibson, down. Okay. Thank you, Kendra. Let's go ahead and I was working on the ear. So again, just looking at the direction of that fur, I'm going to pull the orange. This one is, what did I say that was, terracotta? Right around this edge. A little bit in here. This is where we can really start going quickly, laying this in. These little wispy hairs, make sure they're overlapping. Really important there. Hard right along that edge. This one is I keep forgetting, the burnt ochre. Why can't I remember that? Just pull a few little wisps over there. I'm going to leave that for a moment. We'll move out into the head. It's always easier to go lighter and keep darkening as you need to. It's a lot harder to do the worst. Ice for the hand, Jason, would be the exact opposite of helpful for the type of like I have arthritis, and icing it makes everything so much worse. The best thing I can do is keep moving it, but when I put a lot of pressure, like burnishing, that's where the problem is. But icing is like, cold is the worst thing in the world for me. That is seriously painful. I'm using the purple to pull some of these darker bits in here. This is fun because this is the stage where he starts to look really cute. Actually, I'm going to pull a little bit more in here. We've got a little dark area there. I'm going to leave that for a moment. I'm going to scooch over here and do this ear. Let's do the dark around the edge. And I'm going to use my purple, so it's not just black there. Build in some of the direction of the fur. Constantly, I cannot stress this enough, just constantly look at that photo. Stop. Wade. I'm going to do this with the Derwent light fast where I want it to be a lot brighter. Now my black is not nearly dark enough, so I'll have to come back through with the black on the inside of the ear there. And see how this isn't making it white, it's just lightening what's already there. Now let's darken some of this up. Then this gets cut off up there by the mat. Okay, I'm going to scooch this back over. Actually, let's get this mapped out while that is over there. That stays pretty soft, but we'll throw a few, and actually most of this gets cut off by the mat anyway, but we'll get a few little hairs in there using Caput Mortem. Okay, now that that's mapped out, let's get this area. And this is softer in person. The webcam always makes it look a little bit more harsh. I'll show in the other camera in a bit here. These are much more wispy, but that fur starts getting nice and long, and poofy. Caput Mortem is one of my must-have pencils with polychromos. That's the one I think I go through faster. That and black are my two that I go through the fastest with polychromos. I don't think there's a single thing I've done with colored pencil in years that hasn't included Caput Mortem. Now right now it's going to be a bit flat because I'm only using Caput Mortem for this fur. I'll be coming back through with some other colors as well, mainly white. Just kind of getting some of those in there. Okay, let's sharpen the white. And see how when they mix together, that's where we start getting that look of the fur, those light areas in here. I'm going to take purple and go inside that ear a little bit more over the black. Okay, now is where we start to really take a little bit more time and look at what details we need where. I need some more shading in here. I can't do the whiskers. That always makes such a big difference, but I have to make sure I've got everything in first. Just makes it, I mean, it's not that I can't go back in between the whiskers, but it makes it easier if I'm not trying to work in between that. Sharpen my, could put more, oh wait, no, that one's already sharp. This is my favorite part of every drawing because, or painting, that end where like these little things will make such a big difference. It's so satisfying to watch, like after all that time, all of a sudden these last strokes are what makes like everything stand out. Go ahead and throw in the whiskers now, even though I've got, actually, wait, hold on one second. I can see this area needs to be much lighter. It's kind of weirdly dark. So I'm going to erase it first. Let's push that up. Oh, I didn't even really need to go over it with a pencil. That did everything. But I do need to add a bit of floof sticking out from around his face. That needs to go behind the whiskers. I want my Derwent Drawing Chinese White for some of this. Let me find that pencil. There we go. It's a bit more opaque. And actually, let me show you really quick too. This is, oh, hold on. This is a lot smoother, or like softer looking. There we go. So it has a much softer look, there we go, than what you're seeing. I mean, I'm still going to work on the values for a few minutes, but it's much softer than the harsh lines. It almost looks like thick paint strokes on this one, but it's a much softer feel in person. That's just the joys of a webcam. Okay. So I want to create some of this softness in here. Pencil's showing up really well over that pen pastel. This is really soft, so let's pull that. Just holding the pencil to the side a bit here. Soften all that out. Where are those lights? That's what I'm looking for here. For change direction in there. And I want to soften that out, so I'm just going to go over everything. I'm really burnishing over the previous layers. It softens it, but also lightens it using the white pencil, which is what I want here. So it's serving two purposes. Now, if I didn't want to lighten it, then I'm going to use that colorless blender. Cut off by the mat, so I don't need to go too crazy there. See how I'm just burnishing over that to soften that up. Okay, now I can put in the whiskers. Yeah, I want to use a bit of touch-up texture titanium white mixture too. And as always, I reserve the right to make a few touch-ups when I look at this with fresh eyes tomorrow. This I've sat in front of for really long, and I'm definitely most likely going to make a couple of touch-ups when my eyes are not blurry anymore. Do a few more things here. Start darkening some areas up. Switch over to the gray and get a few more little hairs in here. So let me grab the Touch Up Texture Titanium White mixture. Nope, not powder blender. They look very similar, very easy to grab the wrong one. Now this stuff, this is from brushandpencil.com. Blick carries it. I think they carry it. This has a powder, I already shook it a little bit, but there's like a powder residue at the bottom. Make sure that's all the way shaken up before you mix this, or use this, I mean. And I'm just going to take the cap of a water bottle. I always save any of these I find, and put a little bit of titanium white in there. I'm just going to tap some in there. Apparently I'm going to spill it all over the place. Where did that brush go? Sorry, I have to do this off camera so I don't make an absolute mess. And you don't want to mix a lot of this because it dries very, very quickly. And you can't, like, if you're painting with acrylics and it starts to dry, you add more water to that mixture. Don't do that with this. It makes it non-archival. Now, a lot of people will ask, can't they just use, because you'll see some people on YouTube do this, use a marker, a paint pen, ink, Inktense, watercolor, any of the, I've seen so much acrylic paint. None of that's archival. You're talking about wax and oil-based pencils. You can't put a water-based product on that and have it be archival. It's you can put an oil product over a water base, but not the reverse, and that's what would be happening here. This product is made specifically for colored pencils to be archival. Now, you do want to keep it on a rigid surface. Like, I can't roll this up and ship it to somebody like overseas. I've had that happen in a couple of cases where I couldn't send something like a big project overseas because it had touch-up texture titanium white on it, and that, if it's rolled up, that could cause cracking. But as long as it's flat, like how this will be shipped in a mat, no problem there. Did I shake that all the way? Yeah. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of this into my mixture and then stir them up so they're about the consistency that I would want like acrylic paint to be if I were painting with a liner brush. So thinner than what it would be out of the tube, that's for sure. And I'm going to mix those together. I'm just going to use this small round brush, should work fine. If not, I'll switch over to a liner. I'm using this small round just because it happens to be over here and it should work fine. And so we're going to mix that so we've got that consistency there. About the consistency of like whole milk, I guess. Maybe a little thicker. And now I can easily come on top anywhere where I wanted a brighter highlight that I just really can't get with the pencils themselves. And let's say I go crazy and I put something where I don't love it, let it dry and put pencils over it. It's super forgiving. And you can get these tiny little details that you just can't easily get with the pencils with white. And if you are going to put pencils on top of it, you do want to make sure it dries all the way. So let's say I wanted something to be like a bright pink, and pink isn't going to show up on this. I could do this first, let it dry, and then put the pink on top, and it'll show up really well. Actually, I want to go quite a bit darker with some of these areas here. To see how bright that is. This area, I want to go a little bit darker on that patch. So I'll come back through with my pencils. Okay, let me rinse this out so I don't ruin this brush. I will be right back and we'll finish up our details on this guy. And I'll show you what he looks like again in the other camera because that looks like weird blotchy painting. And that just rinses off your brush with water. Okay, so let's get some of this to be a little bit darker. I don't have a bunch of touch-up texture in here, so some of this I can work now. The white, and then I'm going to burnish right over to soften that up. And this is not where I'm putting things I want tiny detail, it's more where I want to lighten a large area. If I want tiny thin lines, I'm going to switch to the Derwent Light Fast Pencil. Like right there. Actually, that's a big glob. I'm going to thin that out by putting pencil over it. That worked really well. Let's grab my Kaput Mortem. And I'm going to go over that with terracotta. And the more I layer, it's just going to keep looking better and better. Just defining those values. Getting things a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. This whole area up here. Oh, where's my, I need my glassine back. I'm just going to tint this entire area. Let's darken here. Pull that all the way up over that portion of the ear. Again, this really gets chopped off a lot by the mat. So I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on, that's why it kind of fades out and there's just nothing happening over there, because the mat cuts all that off. Softer floof here, so I'm not going to, I'm just going to kind of fill that in softly so it blurs out. Okay, and if an area feels like it's too, like you can't go light enough, it's probably because what's next to it isn't dark enough. And I'm going to come through and do just that right in here. Let's start darkening some of that up. We're almost done with this guy. He looks so much better in person. Got a few areas that are a bit darker. Oh, and I'm missing his little eyelashes. So it comes, let's see, we've got a dark area here. Actually, I'm going to burnish over that with my colorless blender. Smooth that out. See, the colorless blender, when you go over an area, it makes it darker, whereas if you, the opposite, you could obviously burnish out with the white and lighten it. But they both do the same thing. They're basically jamming that pencil into the paper. Okay, I think we're about done with him tonight. Again, tomorrow, I know I've got at least one bit on this guy. Tomorrow, I'm going to come through with fresh eyes and just clean up a few little areas. I do want to add a little bit of ultramarine blue in here, though, because it's going to make that orange really pop, even though that's not really calling for it on the reference photo. I'm going to add that where my shadows are. Oh, that looks so good. So it's not like too in your face with the blue, but man, does that make a difference in person. And this is just, I think this is light, oh, sorry, mid ultramarine blue. And that is the Derwent Light Fast. And all that gets cut off anyway, so we're not going to worry about that. There we go. And I'm going to call him done for tonight because that is as much as my hand can handle. And I do need, I'm going to take a little bit of white over some of this to smooth out a couple of spots, but I'll do that tomorrow, again, with fresh eyes. For signing it, I don't even think I have, do I have my sample over here? I do. Wonderful. So this is a white mat. This will actually be in a black mat, which will look amazing. I really need to pull one of those in here. I don't know what happened to the one that was here. So see what I mean by it's going to crop most of that off. That's why we didn't put a bunch of time into the portion that doesn't show. And then I'm going to sign this one right down here. There we go. So there is that guy, and he looks, oh gosh, the difference of him in person. I'm really happy with this guy. Again, I'll probably make a couple of little touch-ups, but see how soft he looks compared to what he is showing up in on that. I'm trying to think, see if you can get the detail. I have to be like the exact right distance to get the detail. His eyes look weird on this camera. You know why? Hold on. 1 second. I just need to darken. See, this is where I need to come through with fresh eyes. I need to darken up this a little bit. I knew this was going to be a long one, but it definitely, when you sit in front of something this long without like taking a break, you start to lose sight of some stuff. There we go. So it made his eyes look a little bit weird because we were missing some of that. I'm probably going to end up cleaning up tomorrow a little bit in here. I say tomorrow. No, just kidding. I'm going to do it right now. Okay, so that should look a little bit better there. So a little bit of shading like that I may do. It's not picking up great on that camera either. When I edit this, I'll have a good photo of it, but I'm really happy with how he came out. He is super cute. Okay, let's go ahead. That guy you can still bid on, maybe if my website will let you. But again, what Nick said was, like if you're already logged in, you don't need to log in again, but log in, close the window, open it up again, and then you should be able to bid. Isn't the dark color coming out a little bit more on the left? Yeah, and these are little touch-ups I'll probably make tomorrow. I can't see what I'm doing right now. My eyes are blurry. I've sat here for an hour and a half. This is a long one, and I can't see what I'm doing. I need a break. So yeah, I'll probably make some little touch-ups tomorrow, but yeah, not right now. And these will be minor touch-ups, nothing major. Let's see. So let's start answering some questions here. Paige said, do you still use the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle, perhaps to speed up drawings, illustrations as underpaintings, if not on their own? I do. I used that recently on a live stream. Rolanda said, I noticed that you use pan pastels a lot. I don't have any. Is it possible to create the same effect using just colored pencils? Absolutely. It just takes longer. Pan pastels are very fast, so you can get your underpainting done very quickly, but absolutely. And if you look at my lessons, most of the lessons, I think most of them are just straight colored pencil with no pan pastels if you look at my Patreon membership. So you absolutely can get that look without it. It's just a lot faster. Anne said, if we don't have pan pastels, could we use watercolor to do the underpainting? Yep, absolutely. You know what? I need to do that for another live stream coming up because that's one of my favorite mixed media combinations is watercolor with colored pencil on top. Let's do that next week. So I'll do something with watercolor and colored pencil next week. Dolphin Soul, remind me. Let's see. Art of Raven D said, would it be fine to use makeup sponge bobs at the Dollar Tree, or is there a huge difference with the soft tools? You can. I've got some. The thing is, anything for makeup, it's a little bit more awkward, the shape, whereas soft tools, look at the difference here. I'll use this as an example. See how it's like a palette knife? It comes down, so it makes it very easy to hold it without my fingers hitting. Like I can fill it in without my fingers hitting the paper. Whereas when you're using something like this, your fingers keep hitting it makes things a lot more difficult. You can use that, but it's not going to be as much fun. Karen said, so with pan pastels, they need to be framed under glass? Absolutely. Do the pastels still create dust? Yes, but not anywhere near like normal pastel pencils. Like this can be on my hands and it doesn't freak me out, where pastel pencils, it gives me the worst heebie-jeebies, like my skin is crawling, I cannot stand the feel. These have like a more almost oily feel to them, so they're not as dusty at all, and they don't have that chalky feel to them. Python said, is it bad that I binge your lessons? I've never used acrylics for a serious work yet. I've watched a bunch of the acrylic lessons. No, that's awesome. And when you do use acrylic, it's going to make so much more sense to you. So I think you're good. Brittany said, are gloves worth it to keep your hands off your artwork? I'm asking because I can only find one seller on Etsy who makes kid-sized artist gloves. No, I don't think so. Use glassine. When you have gloves, you don't necessarily realize where you've touched something and smudged something. Like, I watch artists, and there are some artists who create amazing work, and they always wear gloves. And I'm like, first off, I'm not wearing those gloves on my hands for hours on end. I'm working on, well, it's back there, you can't see it, but the Bearded Dragon new tank where I had to do a bunch of grouting, have to wear gloves for that. Dear God, I hate that feel. I don't know how people spend hours on end to do artwork wearing these rubber, like, no. So no, I don't think it's good because, I mean, do what you want, but I personally choose not to. Because I need to feel if I accidentally am touching something I shouldn't have touched. Did I just get oil paint on the side of my hand? Did I just get pan pastel on the side of my hand and I accidentally touched somewhere and make a smudge where I didn't want it? I want to know, with gloves, you can't really feel it. So I don't see that as being a super benefit, especially in this case. I'm just going to take glassine over it and I can rest my hand right on it and I can see exactly where I'm touching, and I feel I have just a lot more control with that. It's so, because you still would have to put something under your hand because you're still going to smudge. So it's not just about keeping the oils of your skin off of it, it's about not smudging the artwork. So it's not the way I've chosen to go. Python said, any tips for getting started with acrylics? I practiced long enough with oils. I'm ready to give them a go with your tutorial. I have Liquitex Basics. Just get started. Pick a lesson, just follow along. I don't have any real tips. Pick up, well, sort of. This one has Spectrafix in it, but oh, it's over there. Pick up a fine mist sprayer so you can lightly mist your work as you go. That'll make things easier. Don't start too big. Don't jump in and start like anything over, I would say an 8 by 10 or 11 by 14 is a good first acrylic painting. Because it's smaller, you're not fighting the dry time as much as you are bigger. You're trying to fill in more space. It takes longer, you know, you've got that dry time issue. So I would say for your first painting, 8 by 10, 11 by 14, something smaller, a smaller project, just because of the dry time thing. Once you start getting the feel of it, then go ahead and work into larger pieces. So that's my tip. Okay. Python said, your art lessons are more education than Twilight. Educational than Twilight. Thank you. Lily said, how do you store multiple works such as colored pencil? Do you mat and stack or put them in a portfolio book? So I've got, it's under there. I'm not going to drag it out because it's big, but I've got smaller ones, but these little boxes, you can get archival boxes meant for storing photographs or artwork. You can get them. I think I got them from Blick or Jerry's, at one of the two, but they're acid free. So the work can go in there. And then I put a piece of glassine between them and they're just all stacked up in there. You can put it in portfolios, but portfolios, they slide in and out, so you're more likely, I find, to like kind of smudge it if it's something like charcoal that would smudge. But they have these really cool in different sizes acid-free boxes, and you can stack a lot in one of those boxes. Janet said, is there a reason you were using colored pencils instead of pastel pencils? Yes, I hate pastels. They look beautiful. Dear God, the feel freaks me out so bad. I'm a crazy person and I just can't handle it. So yeah. Let's see. Brittany said, I saw 2 knockoff Caran d'Ache Neo colors on Temu. Sounds about right, but I didn't buy them since I already own the 84 Caran d'Ache Neo color. 2 that I liked better. Yeah, those knockoffs, they don't even compare. And even if they claim, they'll sometimes claim something's real and it's not. If it's on Temu, it's a knockoff. It's cheap crap. You are throwing money at cheap crap. So yeah, Temu, I have nothing good to say about them. Sanchita, I probably just butchered your name and I apologize, said, what do you prefer, polychromos or Derwent Lightfast? Depends on what I'm doing. So it's weird. If I'm using powder blender, polychromos, because that's the only one that works really well with powder blender. So that one. If I want super fine detail, polychromos. If I want smooth blending or more opacity, then I'm going to go with the Derwent Lightfast. If I could only choose one, it depends on the paper I'm working on. If I'm working on something where, let's say I'm doing the whole thing just colored pencil, Derwent Lightfast. Like on a hot press watercolor pencil, I'm probably going to go with my Derwent Lightfast. Just because the blending it's easier to blend, so that's going to save me time. But then when I want those fine details, I love my polychromos. So hard to choose, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Lightfast. It's got the purples that I like, and it blends smoother. So for those reasons, and it saves a lot of time in doing that, it blends so nice with OMS. So probably the Derwent Lightfast, but I wouldn't want to be without either. I'm addicted to them both. Snow said, I saw some makeup brush cleaners where you put the tips inside the brush powered device container of water and it spins. Do you think those would work for watercolor brushes? I think you would ruin your watercolor brushes. I've seen those and they're very gimmicky, not so useful. Like I have to clean my makeup brushes too. You can get like a little rubbery mat and you just stick it on the bottom of the sink and clean that with your soap and water. Like the brushes that spin and they do all that. Like how many devices do you need? I like gadgets. I love gadgets. Like I've moved, my notepad isn't even a notepad anymore because I just waste a bunch of paper. I'm using my tablet for that. Like I like tech stuff. I like gadgets. Those brush cleaners, I'm sorry, they're just, here's one more thing that I'm going to put under my sink, but still not use because it's so easy just to stick my little rubber mat and scrub it in the sink like a normal person. Like I just don't, those brush cleaners, I don't even see the point of them for makeup because seriously, I bet you if you like calculated how many people actually use them, you get YouTubers all over the place. Look how awesome this is. I promise you that none of them are using those besides trying to sell them and get you to buy them. Like that's one of those, it sits under the sink and takes up space. So no, I would not waste my money on those. And that I would be very concerned about them damaging your watercolor brushes. Watercolor brushes are going to be a bit more delicate because it's such a soft bristle brush. And watercolor brushes, I spend a lot more on my watercolor brushes than any other, like they're super dependent on good brushes. So I spend more on those. I am not ruining it in that thing. Like that is just going to make, no, watercolor cleans so easy too. Like there's just no benefit. No, I think those are one of those devices you watch, trust me, because I thought, can you tell I've thought a lot about it? Because I saw it, was like, oh, that's cool. No, that's dumb. What am I doing? That's dumb. That is the biggest gimmicky crap. Like, no, I want to buy it. No, I don't. You're not buying it. It's just going to sit under the sink and you're never going to use it. So yeah. Let's see. Alice said, do you believe that making art is like riding a bike, or do you believe that you would lose the skill after a certain amount of time? You may forget a few things, like, oh, right, if I blend this, like you got to get in the habit again of, I need to paint this pretty quick. This is how much time I have before that starts to dry, and I can blend this way, that. I think there are some stuff that you can kind of forget the technique of, but you're going to pick it up within a piece. Like one painting, you're back to where you were when you start remembering what it is. I think people have a tendency, this is a great question, I think people have a tendency to think that I hear this all the time. I used to be so good and I'm not good anymore. No, I promise you weren't good before either. If you're not good now, you weren't good then. You thought you were good, and a lot of time's gone by and you're romanticizing what you used to create, but chances are it's not any better than what you're creating now. You can kind of forget, again, how to mix and blend a little bit, but one painting, you're back where you were. Wherever you are now is where you were then. You're just remembering things better than they actually were. It's kind of like if you've ever gone to a funeral. I've been to one where the person was a horrible person this sounds really bad, but they weren't a good person, but everyone at the funeral is like, oh, and they were talking about all the amazing things, and it was such a good person. It was the most selfish human I've ever met. And everyone who knew they were selfish saying nothing but good about it, this romanticizing who the person was. And it's like, because they're gone now, so now we have to only remember good. Fine, I'm not that good of a human. I don't only remember good. I remember all of it, and it was not good. But people have a tendency to do that, and we do that with our art as well. Like we only remember the good in it. Now, I say that sounds harsh to say if you're not doing good now, you weren't really that good then. There's still benefit in that. That doesn't mean you're not going to be good, but don't get so hung up. And this is what I see people do a lot. They get hung up on, well, I lost it. I guess I'm never going to be good again. You didn't lose anything. You may be a little out of practice in remembering how much water to mix with your paint, but again, one painting, you should be exactly where you were to start with. It does not take you long to get to where you were before. This isn't like an instrument. So let's say violin. I play violin. I have not practiced in a really long time. If I start playing right now, it's going to take me about a month at least, maybe 2, if I started practicing every day to get to where I was at my best. Because that muscle memory, you've got, like, I've got to get that back. I've got to get the speed back in my fingers. Like, that does take longer. Art really doesn't have that to that extent. As long as you're paying attention to what you're doing, you're pretty much going to be within one painting back to where you were. So it's not work slow, pay attention to what you're doing, and look at that reference photo. It's the same, like the things that you understood about art as far as contrast, values, all of that, you're not forgetting that. That's all going to come back, rushing back as soon as you start doing it again. So no, and I see this all the time of people. I lost it. I used to be good when I was a teenager. I used to be able to draw well. No, you didn't. If you can't draw well now, you didn't. You weren't like, no, you didn't lose anything. No, you can be good. You can be amazing. You just have to do it. But we always remember what we did in the past as being better than what it really was. So that, I think it's just kind of a weird human tendency that we have. But no, you don't lose it. You can, within a painting, you're good. Let's see. Megan said, do you recommend the light fast pencils in the 12 media tin? You know, I'm not sure because I don't know what colors come in it. And I don't know if they've changed it, but what colors, when they initially released them, the colors were missing, but I think it was just the sample thing. I don't think it was the one that went public. It didn't have a good red. It was like a weird orangey red. It didn't have a real red, and it didn't have... The blue was weird. Something was weird. Like the set didn't, and I'd have to look at it. That is a good question. I don't know if it's very good anymore. I know that the polychromo set of 12, perfect. I love that set. But the Derwent Light Fast, I would buy 12 colors individually and pick the ones I wanted. But that tin was right when it first came out, so there may be different colors available. But I remember that the red was more of an orange, and so there wasn't really a red, and there wasn't really a good blue, and that's kind of a must. Like, you want your primary colors at the bare minimum if you're going to be mixing on your own. I don't know if that changed, so I don't want to give you bad advice there. Let's see. Angela said, how much larger do you usually cut your paper than the finished side? So if it's a 5x7, do you work on a 6x8? That's exactly what this is cut to, is a 6x8. Give myself an extra inch, so you figure half an inch, that's going to be more, or all the way around, which is more than enough to fit in the mat. And I always take the artwork out, you know, bigger than, so, whoops, wrong one. So the mat, this is not the mat this is going to come in, by the way. This is going to look so good with a black mat. But the mat is going to go there. Look how much further out I took the artwork. That way there's no gap where I didn't quite get to the edge. So yeah, I always go, 1 inch bigger around, minimum. Okay. Apparently you guys are being crazy in chat tonight. Oh, well, that's actually what Dolphin Soul just said. We've really gone crazy tonight. Let's see. Lisa said, how do you feel when folks who don't care about brushes full on stir and scrape up all the paint like a palette knife and stir and stick mix together and cover half the brush and paint? You know what? You can do what you want with your brushes, but you're not touching mine. Like that was never... I don't want anyone touching my brushes. I have seen when I used to work at one of those places, it wasn't painting with a twist. It was like painting with a twist, but with actual artists teaching it, where painting with a twist is like, oh, you touched a brush once, you can teach. So, sorry, I've seen what teachers they hire. Sometimes there's some good teachers, but I've seen who they hire. So, at least around me. But anyway, the one that I was teaching at, what these people did to their brushes, oh, it was just we actually had to just have them leave the brushes sitting in a cup of water, which you know you never do on a brush you want to last. Best we could do, because they wouldn't even rinse the brushes out. What people do to brushes is just, yes, cringeworthy, but I don't, like, if somebody wants to come to my house and paint with me, if I'm hanging out with friends, yeah, you're using your own brushes. You are not using mine. Unless I'm standing over you like, what, clean that. Don't do that way. So yeah, that's a funny question. I should read this chat. It's hilarious. Yeah, I may have to later, because apparently you guys are being crazy. Art of Raven D ruined the chat room. I'm missing all the good jokes, said Jason. Oh, God. I'm a little concerned about what I'm about to find out later. Let's see. We have... looks like Nick is typing something someone said. It just shows me dots right now. Python said, a YouTuber said, I'm professional, so I get all the good art supplies, but you have to use the bad stuff. I mean, I'm sure they're a great teacher too. There are people teaching on YouTube that, like, you know those teachers I was just bashing about painting with a twist and all those, where I'm like, I've seen the teachers they have. There are so many of them teaching on YouTube. No, I don't care. If somebody's having fun, you go have fun. You take the classes, you paint the things that the people teaching that are fun. But the ones that, where it bothers me is when someone's presenting themselves as an expert with painting, and I'm like, oh God, no, just no. And that's the majority of what I find on YouTube. There are some amazing teachers here, amazing. They don't get the views that the crappy ones do. It's actually kind of like, huh, why are people drawn to the crappy ones? But whatever. Oh, he said nothing. Well, that's not exciting, Nick. Let's see. Fly Me to the Moon said, you have a novel here in chat. Well, I'm glad you guys had fun. Python said, worst mistake acrylic painters make. I actually retitled my video to that. The one that I'm saying that's not, like, and then put the real truth or something like that. So hopefully more people see the real truth behind that one. But exactly, you have people who, like her, I'm not going to finish that statement, but people who, like her, who do, they're teaching, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's parroting what her, I'm sure some college professor told her that. And she's parroting what they said, parroting back what she was told. That was a thing, like, to be fair, that is a thing that people were saying for a long time with no proof whatsoever. Kind of like, here's a fun story time. So you guys know I have my bearded dragon back here. He's in the tank with the light up there, working on his house. So I'm in a group on Facebook. Facebook had their groups for animals oh my God. This woman today wrote this long thing, and it's not, oh, don't say all the mean things, Lisa. Let's water this down. Pretty sure her parents were related. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but seriously. Closely related. She writes this long thing about how it's important to soak her bearded dragon in Pedialyte to make sure it's getting all the electrolytes through its skin. Bearded dragon. Let me say that again. She's soaking her freaking dragon in Pedialyte because people said somewhere, I don't even know where this would have started, but it's always been false, that, oh, they have pores. And her thing is telling people how dumb they are. They have pores just like people do. And we don't drink through our skin. We're not frogs. Like, why did they let your parents breed with each other? Like your sister and brother. But anyway, she's arguing. She's one of those that she's super wrong. She's really, really dumb, but really nasty on top of it. You know how some people, when they're so stupid, some people that are really dumb are the sweetest people you have ever come across, and you just want to do everything to protect them. And then you have this group of people who are so stupid, they're angry about the fact that they're So this was one of those. And she's going off on people about how dumb they are because she thinks her dragon is drinking through its skin. Pedialyte. You're giving it sugar water, which it doesn't need. Oh, but only once a month. And she's going on how they must have this. It's so important. They must have this. Then how come everybody else who is using proper husbandries, their dragon's fine, which obviously says they don't must have it. Oh, also we have from Corey sent a super chat. Thank you, Corey. Oh, the boys are going to be happy. You boys want a super chat? I think that's a yes. Thank you, Corey. That's one way to get me to stop talking about the inbred lady on the bearded dragon form. Oh, I said it, didn't I? Let's try not to. Come here, Wade. Here. Oh, there we go. You don't even look. Good cow. Good bad cow. Okay, go lay down, Gibson. Lay down. Oh, you're going to choke on it. Go lay down. Boys, down. Gibson, down. Gibson, what are you doing? Stubborn hounds. Greyhounds, by the way, are the most stubborn hound. Sight hounds in general are. So Gibson, all the way down. Lay down. Rotten dog. Thank you so much. Let's see. But yeah, you have the things, the ideas that people believe. So the point of that story was there are people spreading that and have been spreading that for a long time, that the dragons need to drink through their skin. And I suspect this started because amphibians actually do absorb things through their skin like that. So people mix up reptiles and amphibians, and I'm guessing that's where this misinformation came from. Like, people have tried to do studies with x-rays and dyes and stuff to prove to people, no, this isn't a thing. That's not how bearded dragons, like, so much scientific stuff has been done to prove this is false. Stop like, it doesn't really hurt it. I mean, you can soak in Pedialyte. I guess it's stupid. I'm sure it's sticky afterward. Well, I don't know. Pedialyte's really sticky, but it's like, so yeah, it's some of the stuff people say on the internet. Let's see. Dolphin Soul said, at Painting with a Twist, they are relying on everyone drinking and not actually learning why no one's painting looks alike at all. Yeah. Python said they used to make acrylic paint so that the thinner was OMS. They switched to water-based shortly after, I think. Oh, that's interesting. Fly Me to the Moon said, that sounds like the stupid movie. Yeah, Idiocracy, exactly. Art of Raven D said, be mean about that bearded dragon Pedialyte person. I have words I'm trying to contain right now to avoid getting kicked out of chat. Yeah, the bearded dragon group is weird. Like, I'm in a reef keeping group. There are some stupid people in that group. Facebook has it's like, if you don't do a good job of taking care of your animals and you didn't research, join a Facebook group, because that's all there are people who didn't research, but they're all telling each other how to it's like a circle of, I won't finish that, of idiots that are giving each other bad advice. And it's crazy. But the bearded dragon group of all, Wade, lay down, cow, down, go lay down. Wade. But the bearded dragon group, the beta, I left the beta groups. It was all kids arguing with each other. But the bearded dragon group probably has the stupidest people that I've seen. Like, it is just painful. And I don't know why. I don't know what, like, some of the stuff they're doing. And I'm like, I feel so bad for these dragons. But it's like, wow. Just wow. Let's see. Artery D said, I'll never forget the time someone on Facebook said to have dogs drink water with a little bit of bleach in it to get rid of parvo. Wow. Well, it doesn't surprise me. I used to work in an animal hospital. The stuff people came up with and the stuff they did, like you would give them straight instructions. Like I remember this male collie that we neutered. And he came back in and everything was horribly infected and swollen. And I just made all the men in this group cringe like crazy, but it was bad. And I have a soft spot for collies. I had one as a kid. I love them. And so it was just, but the woman insisted, no, we tell them, do not let them lick the incision. Put a cone on their head, like, do not let them lick the incision. She comes back. I mean, I've never seen anything so swollen. It was disgusting, this poor dog. And she said she wanted him to lick it to keep it clean. And we're like, we told you why not to do that. Why? Now we have to do another surgery. I think that dog required 2 surgeries total because she kept bringing it back and wouldn't follow directions. And I'm like, people are just, oh, it was bad. Let's see. Yeah, I can't be in any of the dog groups. Even the greyhound groups, I had to leave all of those. The things people say, the things people do where you're just cringing. The greyhound groups probably weren't as bad, but just the people were just annoying. Yeah, the dog groups, anything like that is just, ugh. Python said, is this why you paint animals and not people? Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes I paint people, but yes, I've always preferred the animals, that's for sure. Yeah. Dragon sitting up all tall back there. He's so cute. Let's see. Rolanda said, this is making me angry. Let's go back to what paint was made of. Yeah, yes. Okay, I'm with you on that. You're not wrong there. And that's why I can't be in a lot of these groups. The dragon group, I don't know. Sometimes they should, like, that's how I found the really good cages, the place that I get my dubia roaches from. I'm making the bearded dragon build. I found that because, like, I'll get some stuff that's really good on that group, like some good information, but for the most part, it's almost post after post after post of people doing dumb crap. But the part that bothers me is giving advice when you don't know what you're talking about. Like, don't say anything. If you don't know the answer, don't just make it up, but they're making it up and it's just, we're almost done. Oh, yeah, I have no idea about the paint. I heard you, yeah, I don't know what you guys were talking about with the paint. Okay, we'll just go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much. Yes, I did get the tarantula. I got a pink toe. Her name is Bubbles. She's right over here, and she's adorable. Is she in her corner? Did she come out? She's right there. She's so cute. I got an adult. We don't know how old she is. The guy's had her for a year. He estimates she's anywhere between 5 and 15 because she has bred before for him, like 6 months ago. So she is an adult. The females can live a really long time, but because we don't know her age, who knows? But the adults are easier to take care of than the slings or the babies, as cute as the babies are. So I opted for the adult. She is the most polite spider you have ever met. Like, she's so cute. We also got a Mexican black king snake, and his name is Ramen Noodle. We call him Rom. He's adorable. A little bit bitey, but okay. So he's my snake. So yes, we did get 2 cute critters. No, I'm not going to hold so the tarantulas you can hold, and I did hold her at the place. The big thing was to go move in slow motion. That's so weird. I'm used to animals like, you got to be quick and grab them. Not with the spiders, because that scares them. As long as you're slow, she's like, okay, I can sit here and just chill on your hand. So cute, so fluffy. I love the fluff. But I also don't want to stress her out. I just want her to be happy. She's got a really big, it's a 12 by 12 by 18 vivarium. That was one of the reasons I went with an adult, because a baby would be too, baby has to be in a little thing until they grow up. So this is a good size for her, and hopefully everything goes well. Again, I have no idea how old she is, so we'll see. But I don't see myself really holding her because I don't want to stress her out. I just want her to be happy in her little space, and we look at each other, and I hand feed her with tongs. So that's our bonding. But the snake, at some point, I have to be super slow to get him out. I'm getting used to him just now, or he's getting used to me. He has to get used to being handled regularly, so that will be a while. Luckily with the snake, he eats frozen pinkies. I don't feed live with them. I'd end up with a million pet mice if I did that. So he is a really good eater and eats frozen. The Mexican black king snakes are super a little too overzealous with eating. Everything gives them a food response. They think everything is food. They're not, it's not even that they're necessarily mean. They just think everything's food. So kind of like Matt's hognose, but yeah, they all eat all, like the food is just frozen that we defrost. Tarantulas, how long do they live? It depends on the species. I've read everywhere that on average, I guess for the pink toe that she is, I forget the name, the scientific name, but they're about 12 years. I've read anywhere from like up to 15, but 12 seems to be the more average. But the thing with tarantulas is it's essentially a crab that lives on land, and I love crabs. But they go through molts, and they just can have a really bad molt, and they don't recover from it. I know, I've been through that enough with hermit crabs. So that's like a very vulnerable time for them. And so that's why I went with the female. She's less likely to have an issue with that than a baby. And a baby has to go through a lot of molt. So yeah, there we go. Let's see. So it depends on the type, but the females can live 12, 15, up to, some people have had them live up to 15 years. Males, like 3 to 4 years, 2 to 4, right around there. Males don't live very long. So females are better in that. Jason said you feed the snakes in another location than their regular enclosures. So no, right now we're feeding them in their normal enclosure. Matt's, he was pulling her out, but then we're like, is she associating being picked up with eating? Is that why she's having such a strong food reaction? Because you don't want them to eat the aspen shavings they're on. So I don't know. Can I do a video on my pets? I would love some pictures and videos. Yes, actually I was thinking about doing a whole like my zoo tour, artist zoo tour, and what it's like taking care of each of them. So a little bit about each of those. So I do want to do that. And yeah, I think everyone's getting better with spiders because of jumping spiders being so popular, because they are the cute. We have them native here. They're always in my windowsill, like on the outside. Oh dear God, they're cute. I've made a couple of them pets in the past. It's also how I know they don't go through molt super well. Like you trying to get the humidity, it's a whole thing. But I think their cuteness is helping people to not be as grossed out by the bigger tarantulas. And again, I've got one, she's the most polite, like they're not prone, her type, they're more likely to poop on you, poop and run. I'm scared, I'm gonna poop and run. They're afraid of you. They just wanna sit in there, and she'll look at me, but she's like, please don't touch. She's not, spiders, some types of tarantulas, they put their arms up and they're like, I'm threatening you, look how scary I am. This type doesn't really do that. They're just like, I'm gonna poop and run. So yeah. That was my tarantula impersonation. Do I feed the snake? Okay, I answered that one. Let's see. Oh, Lily, you got the fox. Yay. I'm going to make him better for you tomorrow, too. I'm going to do a few little touch-ups with fresh eyes because my eyes are too blurry. Couple little. And I'll post photos so you'll see. It's going to be so cute. But yeah, so, okay, I think we are good for the night. Oh, hi, Dragon. He's moving around again. But thank you guys so much for joining. Baby pandas, if you are willing, I want to do some tests on how to get this auction to work. Can you email me, lisa@lachri.com, and I can have you fake bid, because I know for sure it's not working for you. Let's see if we can figure out how to get that to work. And see if Nick's method of log in, but then close it and then open it again. Let's see if we can find a solution, if you're willing to help me with that. But I need somebody who it's not working for in order to like try to solve whatever is going here. Yeah. Oh yeah, you've seen, let's see. Oh, that's not what I don't know what that has to do with. Let's see. Okay, we are good. So thank you guys. You guys can move in. I know most of you guys are over on Patreon. Take it over to our Discord channel. If you're not in Discord and it's not connecting it or whatever, I'll go post an updated link after this. After I get the room cleaned up, so give me like 20, 30 minutes. But take your chat on over there. We've got an open chat. We've got talking about pets. We have, I know Aline has been, I don't know if she's in here tonight. She's planning her bearded dragon. So we will all be over there chatting tonight. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for my moderators. I own them. That didn't come out right at all. Thank you to all of the moderators for helping. We've got Nick, we've got Clark Fine Art, we've got Joseph. Their links to their channels are in the video description. Two of them, Clark Fine Art and Joseph, both live stream, so you guys can all chat over there, which is always fun. And thank you guys so much for joining. Next week, watercolor and colored pencil. Don't forget to remind me, Dolphin Soul, who reminds me of all the things I forget. And I will see you guys. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I just don't know what it is right now. But we're going to go with sure. That's it. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next week. If you want to learn to paint and draw, but you don't have any experience or your drawing skills aren't that good, join over 1,100 students and follow along with over 300 painting and drawing lessons. There are over 675 hours worth of lessons and new ones every week, just waiting to turn you into a master. The great thing about these classes are that you get to do them from your own home in your own time. If you're taking in-person classes, often it's very hard where you're either falling behind, you're trying to rush to keep up with other students, or you're working faster than the other students waiting for them to catch up to you. With my classes, there is no time limit. You can work at your own pace, whatever feels comfortable for you. Join before October and you will lock in my 2014 prices. That gives you all of these lessons for as little as $4 a month, plus bonus content to help you master your medium.